Hey there guys, it's time to review one of the best coasters in Britain. I'm Cameron from Coaster Web and today we're reviewing Icon. So Icon is a Mack launch coaster that opened in 2018, so it's really new, at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It has two launches, both of them are forwards launches, and it features what I would call two inversions, but RCDB says it is an inversion and a junior Immelman, which doesn't count as an inversion, but I'll go into that later. So essentially, this ride, in my view, has everything you could want in a low to the ground coaster. It has airtime, it has hang time, it has twists, it has turns, and it's super smooth as well. It's by far the best coaster at the Pleasure Beach, and it is now my new number 2 coaster, now over the Swarm. Of course, Smiler still sits at number 1. But anyway, let's dive right into our jam-packed on-ride POV. So we start off with this fairly gradual but by the end powerful launch into this top hat where you get really whipped over in the back. At the front you get some airtime even at the bottom of the drop. Then you go into this fairly gradual turn into these quite far bank turns, and then this is quite an intense moment, all of these little turns and these switches, and then we go into a turn ready to get loads of hang time on this heartline roll, one of my favourite elements on the ride, and we get some small airtime in that pop before going into this launch, which accelerates you a bit, and you do feel it especially at the front row. Then you go into this junior Immelman loop, which some people call an inversion, some people don't. I'm going to call it an inversion for the sake. By this time you picked up quite a lot more speed than you've ever had in the ride before. You get some airtime on that hill there. We then have loads of little twists and turns like here, where you're really whipped over and it's really nice and whippy, especially in the back. We get some small airtime on these hills, and then this is where the ride starts to feel a little bit out of control, where we have all of these unnecessary sort of forced turns, but it still gives something to the ride, I'd say. We've certainly lost a lot of speed as we hit into the brakes. So there we go, there are lots of elements in that ride, and though quite a few of them are twists and turns, they're all very different to each other, and that's one of the things I really like. I've only been to Blackpool once since Icon opened. I had 5 rides on it that day. 3 of them were in the front row, 1 was a middle row, and 1 was a back row. For me personally, this is a front row coaster. I find the front row much more enjoyable, especially with the launch and all the twists and turns. You really feel a bit out of control. The back, yeah, you're getting whipped around a lot more, and you get lots more airtime, especially on that massive hill that you start off going up. However, I do think that the view is definitely lacking from the back. From the front row, the view, especially with the launch, is overall a much more enjoyable experience. And to be honest, I don't personally find the back row too much more intense than the front on this particular coaster. So now we are going to go through the individual scores. So for the layout, I am going to give this ride a 4 out of 5. In my opinion, it needs a few more inversions, but besides that, yeah, I think this layout is really good. It has everything you could possibly want in this type of coaster. The theming is minimal, but it has some sort of scenery, and the music is really good by The Notable Stranger. It's really good, it goes really well with the ride. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5 just because it doesn't really have any theming. The smoothness is definitely a 5 out of 5, really good smoothness. And the overall experience, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5. So that means that Icon has a total score of 17 out of 20, which puts it ahead of the Swarm but just below the Smiler. There we go. I mean, that is all my thoughts on this brilliant ride. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? Comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.